The following presentation is brought to you by Virginia Credit Union.
Did you know research tells us that people who set financial goals for themselves and write them down have double the wealth of people who don't set financial goals? So, welcome to this webinar where we will help you to develop smart financial goals. Hi, I'm Sylvia Watford, Senior Financial Education Specialist with Virginia Credit Union, and you can reach out to me at sylvia.watford@vacu.org. So, what are money goals? Money goals are simply the fruit of all of your hard labor. It is what you want to accomplish with your money, it's the tangible effort, the results of what you do to get the financial picture that you want. So think about what the financial picture is that you want to see in your life. The first thing that you want to do is really determine what your values are. Our values are those deeply rooted beliefs that we have and that we hold so dearly. So think about what is really important to you, because those values will help you determine the decisions that you will make regarding your money. So here's a little exercise for you to be able to identify what your values are. It could be anything from your family, could be very important to you. It could be freedom, flexibility, personal growth. Think about what your top 3 to 5 values are. What are the things that are most important to you? Once you've done that, let me give you an example here to show how your goals should really reflect what your values are. So if you say that your value is security, and security to you means having that emergency funds, then one of your goals would be to establish that emergency fund. Or let's say you really value having flexibility and you want to eliminate debt so that you have more flexibility regarding the choices that you make. You may say your value is freedom in retirement. And so you will set a retirement account as your goal. Say your family is really important to you, then your goal may be to buy a home so that your children will have a backyard to play in. So those values will lead you to set your SMART goals. Now, when we talk about SMART goals, it's really important that we follow this process. So instead of saying, my goal is to build my emergency fund, we want to make that a smart money goal. An example would be, my goal is to put $200 every month into my savings account for the next 12 months to build that emergency fund, which will give me a sense of security. So let's see if that, in fact, is a SMART goal. First, it has to be specific, and it is, because I'm saving for an emergency fund. I have to be able to measure it, and I can do that. I'll see that $200 every month going into that savings account. It needs to also be attainable. So I have to ask myself, can I put $200 aside every month to go into that savings account? And of course, as we have talked about before, it has to be relevant. It's something that's important to me, and it's in line with my core values. And I need a time period. In my example, 12 months is a time period, and that will hold me accountable for reaching that particular goal. So now the third thing that we want to do to set that smart money goal is to assign a dollar value to each money goal. So the short term could be that emergency savings account. Within a 1 year time period, that dollar amount is $150. The midterm goal could be repaying debt within a 3 year time period, $200. The long term goal could be to fund the retirement, and that's $350. So now I can allocate $700 towards my money goals. I have that dollar figure that I can allocate that to. It's also important that we write down our SMART financial goals because writing help us to reach it. So I want you to think writing equals reaching. That increases our chances of reaching that financial goal. You can download this tool and write down. And again, sometimes we have to play that juggling act, but think about your short term, your midterm, and your long term financial goal. Now, what can you do intentionally to achieve those SMART money goals? You can open separate accounts for each particular goal. This is utilizing what behavior economists call mental accounting. And what it simply means is that as humans, we have a tendency to place a certain value on our money depending on how we are going to use it. So when we have a separate account, we can name that account. That emergency fund may be my security blanket account. The housing fund may be the new house for the kids account. Name the account, have a separate account for that particular goal so that you are very clear about setting that money goal with that particular account. The second thing you can do is set up a direct deposit out of sight, out of mind. The less that we have to think about where we want to put our money to reach our goals, the easier it is for us to do that. The third thing is to have an accountability partner. So I want to challenge you after you look at this webinar within the next 24 hours, when you set that SMART money goal, think of someone that you can share that goal with and ask them to hold you accountable. The last thing is to celebrate your wins once you've reached that goal. I remember working with a young man, and his goal was to purchase his first home. And I asked, well, how do you plan to celebrate? He said, well, I really hadn't thought about it. So I suggested that he uh, decide to have a housewarming party. And he was like, "What is that?" And I was like, "Well, you invite people over," which he did. And I was able to attend. And he was so elated that he had reached that goal. So make sure that you have a way to celebrate your wins. So to recap, an overview of the steps to make sure that you create those SMART money goals. You know what your values are, right? Getting very clear about that. And then just writing down those SMART money goals and writing down as many that will come to your mind. And then looking at making a priority based on which ones are the most important and using those values that you've thought about. What is important to you? Those values will determine which SMART money goals are the most important. Once you've done that, you are going to have the dollar amount that will be associated with each goal. This will allow you to form a framework to create that spending plan. Now, if you still need support, Virginia Credit Union, we are here to supply that support to you. And one of the ways we can do that is we offer free financial coaching with an organization called Balance. We partner with Balance, and someone can meet with you by phone and help you develop that plan so that you can reach your SMART money goals. You can also reach out to myself at sylvia.watford@vacu.org or our team of financial educators. Thank you so much for your time, and I wish you well as you create those SMART money goals.